Welcome back to Valiant Volumes. This is your host and CEO, Dan Spotsville.
And I'm Michaela Mitchell.
If you are a first-time listener, in this podcast, we talk about everything business, entrepreneurship, but most importantly, I say this all the time, we talk about how to kick ass in life. What's up, Mac?
Hi.
Can I see that one more time? And Amelia, will you do that
So
switch over to
for
Mac?
the audio listeners, if I existed in 1915,
Okay.
I'm holding up
You
a
kinda do
magazine.
look like, yeah, you look to the side. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so I'm holding
Yeah.
up a magazine
Yeah.
from 1915, and the woman on the cover is beautiful, and I look just like her. So
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, yeah. What's up?
before we get to that,
Yes.
so today I had an idea for
Okay.
the podcast,
Yes.
right? Do things a
Uh-huh.
little differently.
Okay.
We're at like 44, 45 Valiant volumes
Yeah,
in.
something like that.
And like you said, in your intro, we talk about a lot of different things. A lot of business, a lot of entrepreneurship, digital marketing. There's sprinkles and capital raise in there. Like we're pretty diverse.
Yes.
But I wanted to play around with having maybe more like a consistent type of like segment. Segment might not be the right word, but every once in a while I'll have an episode that is about decade marketing.
Yes.
And you actually had the idea of decade marketing, so I won't steal the idea.
No, it's okay.
But I do
It's a
think,
shared idea.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
think, we can play around with it. So this is like the first episode where we do something related to decades marketing. I do have this magazine here that we actually found at an antique store from 1915.
July of 1915. That's 109 years ago.
Yes, actually, Amelia and I did the math. Did you do that in your head?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
We had at least 7 different answers before we got to the
What?
correct one.
What? You just subtract 2024 from 1915.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be that easy. Hey, we don't run businesses. You do. That's
Got
why they
it.
pay you the big bucks. But
Okay.
anywho, so the idea with decade marketing is
Yeah.
we pick a decade, we pick a time frame, and we talk about what's different about the marketing back then, back now. It's more of a fun episode, maybe
Sure.
a little less of the business talk. So with today's podcast, I want to just I have a few bullet points, and I have picked out some ads or just some pieces from the magazine that I want to like show you because you haven't seen this before.
Yeah, I have not.
But prior to that, I wanted to talk about a couple of different things about like why decade marketing,
Sure.
had a couple of questions for you too, and just overall talk about like what our plan is for this segment.
Yeah.
Because for those listening, like this is definitely a different type of episode that we're doing, but it can evolve. It can be different things. So since
Yeah.
it was your idea, do you want to add a little bit to like what you want to do with decade marketing and like what that means? for the
Sure. I mean,
podcast?
we're taking it way back, like starting off a century ago, over 100 years ago, which I think is great. But look, the purpose of like the segment of doing like decade marketing is to really be able to compare like, hey, what type of marketing is working now and what type of content's out there now, and what were people doing back in the day to get people to buy their product, to use their service. And it was interesting. Like I did see, something from like 50 years ago, like from the 50s, and I think it was like not 50 years, it's like 70 years ago. So like from the 50s and 40s. And I found that there were like in messaging wise that there were similarities in how they approached the masses on like, hey, look at this product or service. If you buy my product or service, you can expect XYZ. And there's no difference on social media. That's also what's being said on social media in different messaging. It's just that the way in which this marketing is being presented, like this magazine or like the newspaper, right? Like it's evolved over the last couple of decades. And it's interesting for me to understand and see like, hey, back in the 80s, like newspaper, radio, and then TV, you know what I mean? Like how that kind of evolved. I think it'll be cool for us to talk about it. And then also bring people in that had huge success like in early 2000 or early 90s, that was like the face of this or the face of this product or the face of this service, and being able to like get their like, take on like, hey, why did this marketing work back in 1994 or 1996 or 1984? Like, why did it work?
Yeah.
And what do you see nowadays? And like being able to have that conversation, I think is selfishly interesting for me. So
Yeah, I mean, like we sit here and we talk about how like we do paid marketing, right? we don't do traditional marketing, like, which is, you know, paper, print, your billboards, and we don't really touch SEO either within the agency. But like, it doesn't mean that they don't work in their own areas. There can be experts in those fields, and we can still learn something from them, because like it all happens.
It all works together. It's just like sometimes, you know, depending on like nowadays, there's just other ways of marketing that works maybe better. It's better trackable. You know, you can track it better. So like there's pros, like there's always just something that works better for certain industries. I mean, there are certainly industries to where magazines work well, you know, still, or like billboards actually work. Like we never sit here and say like, hey, billboard just doesn't work. That's not true at all. Billboards still work. It's just that we're focused on digital marketing.
Yeah, exactly. So before we dive into the magazine that I have, and we can go all the way back to the 1915s, since this is the first time we're talking about decade marketing, what year did you start marketing? And what was like the first marketing that you did, whether it be traditional, digital? Like,
I started marketing when I was a little boy.
Okay, so like, what does that mean though? Like, tell me more. We want to uncover.
Sounds so cheesy, like, oh, you always market yourself kind of thing. That's what went through my head just now.
Wait, but hold on, because in my interview for Valiant, like 3.5 years ago on a Zoom, you asked me, have you ever done marketing before, or digital marketing before? And I said, yeah. I market myself every time I go to work at the bar, because I post on social media. And you literally were like, that's not marketing. That's not, or you were like, that's not what I'm asking. But I responded because I knew I didn't have the experience you were asking me about. But I was confident in my answer, because to me, that was me marketing my shift. That's how I was going to get my money. So like, that was my first stint in marketing. Yeah,
but I got you. I think officially, like marketing, like I made attempts at it in my early 20s. So I can kind of tell you, like, you know, I had this company that I was trying to get off the ground called Energy Express. It's still in my garage. I purchased like 25,000 or like 50,000. I can't remember which number it is.
How big is your garage?
Like flyers, like that are like this big.
Yeah.
And you know, it's both sided, full color. I spent thousands of dollars on it, and my intent was to go and like plaster it everywhere.
Didn't you have a mock-up of like your car wrap too?
Car wrap, you know, from Energy Express, like, so like that was kind of like my first like touch on like how should I market my business. And quickly I found out that traditional marketing was expensive. You know, like I mean, I spent my own savings into creating all of these flyers. And again, fatal mistake as a entrepreneur, you know, because I'm like a baby, just trying to figure out how do I get my name out there. And the first thing I thought of was like flyers. Yes, colorful flyers with my logo and a car wrap that's like bright yellow, you know?
Yeah.
Like so stupid.
And now you are merch to market the stuff that's already working, you know?
So long way from that, but I think that's where I started.
Was there ever like an ad campaign, whether it be like a company like Coca-Cola or something, that like stuck with you over the years, or you're like, that is all like the all-time best marketing campaign ever?
There is one that comes to mind.
Like what?
It was in Japan where Arnold Schwarzenegger did a cup noodle commercial. Like, so like, I don't know if you know this or not, like American celebrities go to Japan and create commercials, and they get paid to do that, right? So there was this commercial like back in 94 or 96, like somewhere in the 90s, where he made this like cup ramen commercial, and that has stuck with me over the last like 30 years.
Was it because of like the celebrity that was doing it?
Yeah,
or, like...
I liked him as a celebrity because he reminds me, like, selfishly, like, it's weird. Like, he reminds me of my dad, like, because he has like that same type of build.
Oh, okay.
And then, you know, same skin tone, whatever. But then also, like, I liked the Terminator back in the day. And it was just a funny commercial, but like it never aired in America. So I bet you, like, some of these people that may know, that listen to this volume, may know what I'm talking about. But I'll show you after this, though. Okay. It's like, it's really funny.
I mean, since we're talking about like decades of marketing and like the generational difference, when you said Arnold Schwarzenegger, I've never seen the Terminator, but when you said that word, do you know what movie popped up in my brain?
Okay.
The SpongeBob movie where he's a guest star in it.
What?
He's the only like real actor in it. Everything else is animated.
God, that is crazy. Like, I know Arnold for Terminator, Twins, without, you know, the short little dude,
Danny DeVito.
Yeah, with him, like Twins, like that was a classic movie. Kindergarten Cop.
I know what Arnold? It is. Yeah, I know what it is.
I mean, a million? No.
Oh.
Oh man.
No, I don't know.
My age is showing for sure.
No. But it just, I mean, here we are talking about something that we're about to go into 100 years ago, you know? So, like, and you're not that old.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that, like, things change, right?
Yeah,
Whether
yeah.
it be, like, the person, the type of content, however it's consumed. So,
Yeah. That's crazy.
yeah.
Okay,
So, I
let's
wanted
go.
to start with what was actually happening in the world so we can kind of set the stage.
In 1915?
Between 1900 and 1915. Okay, so like right up until this magazine.
Isn't
was
this like
published.
Oregon Trail days? Like remember the show that I like 1923?
Okay, so the
that's
so the first thing so I see on here I have like a little timeline. I'm not going to go through everything, but like the population in the U.S. at the time in 1900 was 76 million.
Wow.
It had almost doubled since 1870, which I think is closer to the Oregon Trail times that you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Over 4,000 passenger cars had been sold in America.
Whoa, watch out.
In 1901, do you want to take a guess at what Coca-Cola's advertising budget was?
Yeah. 120,000.
It was 100.
Oh, really?
100,000, yeah.
I was close.
Now, here, have you heard what Coca-Cola's advertising spend was in the U.S. in 2022?
I want to say 1.5 billion.
645.4 million. So
Okay.
shit blew up.
Yeah.
Some other details just to kind of give you an idea of, let's see, Quaker Oats was just incorporated. We have Pepsi Cola Company was just incorporated in 1902. The Wright brothers just made their first substantial manned flight to North Carolina. Cigarette coupons are first used as a draw for a new chain of tobacco stores. Like,
so this is when things are like just like things that we know are engraved in our society now. It's like popping
Yeah.
off. Like they're like the infant companies.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to get even more specific and talk about what was happening between 1900 and 1915 in advertising and marketing.
Okay.
So during this time, there was an increase in the professionalism in marketing practices, and you saw a lot of new advertising mediums. Some of the trends were, so there was a rise in national brands. You saw the rise of companies like Coca-Cola, Kodak, Campbell's Soup. They'd all kind of established themselves as household names, like you just said. You know, it's all stuff we know today.
Yeah.
You had the birth of modern advertising agencies.
What?
Yeah.
Shout out to the agency back in 1900.
So get this. So the early 1900s. So modern advertising agencies such as J. Walter Thompson. Have you heard of that? JWT?
It sounds very familiar. Yeah.
It was founded in 1864, but it significantly expanded during the 1900s. In the 1900s, you saw newspaper and magazines remain the dominant form of advertising, but it introduced halftone printing technology, so it allowed for visually appealing advertisements like photographs and illustrations.
Yeah.
You saw the expansion of outdoor advertising for like billboards, posters, painted signs.
Yeah, like on the signs, like those were probably big. Like, hey, look at this sign. It's like my social profile.
Yep. No, seriously. So then you saw the use of celebrity endorsements. We started to see that branding became a really big deal. Like they started to increasingly see the importance of companies investing in distinctive brand identities. So I mean, Coca-Cola was starting, Pepsi Cola, and like
and
those
then
two.
getting people like product placement, getting people to like drink Coca-Cola.
Yep.
Or placing it in events and like all of that.
Yep.
Yeah. Just all the you know, the old school stuff.
Yeah.
That's still like, it's in play still to this day. Yeah.
And then you have, this 15-year period, you have governments began to regulate advertising more closely because there was the concern of false or misleading claims. So the government started to have regulations. And the last piece that I'll add is there was the introduction of radio advertising, where radio broadcasting, it really didn't become widespread until the 1920s, but experimental radio
But it was
broadcasts.
starting to happen.
Yeah.
Wow. And then
So-
that's where you probably learned about the latest news and look, I grew up in like, like the late 80s and early 90s. I mean, radio was still big. I mean, radio is still big depending on what part of the world you're in.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's still prominent here in the United States too, depending on where you live, I think.
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
So that's kind of
though.
like setting the
Yeah.
stage of what was happening the 15 years prior to this magazine being released. Before I actually open it, though, I want to ask you this question. Do you know when the earliest example of a magazine was created, like what year that was? And it's much sooner, like much later. And
Really?
like
Then
several years before this.
Oh, I'd say 1850s.
1731 in London.
Oh.
It's called the Gentleman's Magazine. So it's
Gentleman's.
Yeah, but it's not inappropriate actually.
Yeah.
I thought it might be, but
Yeah.
so it's often cited as like the earliest example of a magazine, and it had news, essays, poetry, reviews, and ads were allowed to generate revenue to offset the printing cost. So
Wow.
isn't that crazy?
That's interesting.
What's the math there? 1731.
1731. That's a lot of math.
I know.
There.
It's okay. That's not the point.
It's 300, 1731. So 31 minus 24, 6. So 294 years ago.
Something like that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But
Yeah. 17. No, I just want to get this
Yeah.
right. 1731, right?
let's see.
1731 minus 2024. I said 294 years.
293.
93. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was off by
There you
one.
go. That's all right.
I'm close.
But so yeah, so that was the first magazine.
Yeah.
So as we start to look at this
Is
magazine,
this a magazine that you have? Like, is this a magazine? What is this?
yeah. So what we're looking at is the Strand magazine.
Volume what?
So it's number 294.
Okay.
Yeah.
Magazine number 294.
It smells like an old magazine.
Really?
No, it smells like an antique shop.
Oh yeah, it smells like wood.
I'm gonna put this on the floor.
This is so interesting to me.
So you actually haven't had the chance to look at it, but I like pre-selected some things that I do want to show you. But before we go through it, I genuinely want to like know, what do you think is going to be in this magazine? Now, what kind of there's a couple questions, like what kind of articles and stories do you think they're bringing, but then also like what kind of ads? So
Well, I just saw the ad. I mean, I gotta be honest here. I just saw like a cigarette ad and like something about maids, but she was covering her face. I'm like, what is this?
yeah.
I wonder like if some of these things are just not acceptable these days. You know, I have that thought, like not in a negative way or anything, but like I wonder because like, you know, like society has changed. Like what's acceptable back in 1915 is not acceptable this year.
Okay, that's so interesting that you said that, because so I have them all beautifully like color coded with news, technology, more like just decade related things. I have one that's for life, because that probably wouldn't, or decade related, like that probably wouldn't be as relatable like today, or you can't say that stuff within like business and investment.
Can I start with technology? Can I this be like Jeopardy? Like Mac, technology for
No, that's totally fine. That's why I did this. So like
Yeah.
but what do you think like technology kind of ads are going to be in here? Do
I
you have
don't
any
know.
ideas?
Just dive into it.
Okay, so as we're looking at the magazine, like one of the first ones we see here is like literally right as you open it, it is the Typewriter. And the Typewriter ad here is about why does big business choose the Royal? So the Royal is the actual like typewriter. And I made a note here where it says the Royal Master Model 10, the 10 years ahead typewriter. They're like, this is like the business of the future. And it says big business is big because it's organized and managed for tomorrow, next year, and years ahead. And it talks about like big business knows that the Royal, this thing, is instantly adjusted to your personality of the operator.
Wow.
We just had an episode where we talked about AI tagging on to the personality of the person. I mean, I'm happy to turn this around and show it to you so you can see
like
it.
just really quickly.
It's talking about, you know, like we're selling Model 10 of this typewriter, this new piece of technology, and they're like, big business uses it this way.
Look
big
at this.
business.
I mean, this is insane.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy.
So that's like the first advertisement that you see.
It says
on
big
there.
business is big because it is organized and managed for tomorrow and next year and years ahead.
Yeah.
So like they're saying like, hey, this is the biggest, baddest, best typewriter.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. So like technology, so like that tells us like typewriters were a thing because there was no computers then, back in 1915. My question to you is, have you used a typewriter before?
Yes.
Like for schoolwork?
No.
Oh.
That's crazy.
I did.
No, I know. Oh, that's crazy. But like my typewriter experience.
I was at the switch between typewriter and like my dad bought a home computer because I was like, Dad, I can't use a typewriter, and I'm like 6 or 7 years old. I was like, I can't use a typewriter. I need a computer. So like he bought us a computer.
Yeah, my grandparents still have one like up in the.
We have
it's
one too.
above the
I still have my dad's typewriter.
washer and dryer just sitting up there. But
yeah,
the point that you say that though about your dad like switching, right? This advertisement here, it says right there in your office, the Royal will not help you save money for the long run, but like make money in forever, right?
Interesting.
We have something that does the same thing with us everywhere. But that was a huge deal to like have it right.
Yeah,
there,
having your own
right?
typewriter and being able to type. Because
Yeah.
remember, people used to write letters, so like typing made it that much faster.
Yeah.
You know, I remember like I was like, and then like
Yeah.
don't, Amelia, you don't know nothing about this, and like you're like, shh. Like,
I know I know what a typewriter is.
Yes.
I'm so blown away. Do you use one in school?
Yeah, like I use one for school work when I was like
okay.
in like first and second grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't get into that, but like I use a typewriter. I
That's
remember.
crazy.
Yeah, I was like in first grade.
Okay,
Yep,
so
and we made that switch. Okay, what's next?
the next thing that I marked as technology, a little different, but
Uh-huh.
so this is the confession book for artists. Okay, so it's like 4 or 5 pages, and it has the artist name at the top, and each artist had 6 different prompts. And after I explain it, I'll tell you why I marked it as tech. But so some of the prompts are like, what is your idea of a pretty girl? What is your ideal for like a well-dressed woman? And the artist had to like draw it, right? Or what is the easiest animal to draw? And so they had their own versions of who is pretty, what's an easy animal to draw,
Okay.
your favorite, like what's an optimist versus a pessimist. I marked it as technology because the point of this like whole clip, this whole section here was that your readers can look into the adaptations of it, and rather than using writing, they're using pictures. I immediately thought of Instagram. On your grid, you can post your thing of this is what I think a pretty person is, this is my favorite pet, and like we just talked about AI generated content and how for them they had just this in this magazine they had 7 different people draw their versions of things
Of what
and
they
now,
thought about, like, oh, I see what you're saying.
now
Yeah,
we take pictures.
yeah, instantaneously.
We have
crazy.
AI generated content, so that's why I marked it as technology.
Okay, let's go to another tech, like one last
like
tech.
Okay. One last tech. Ooh, here I am getting all caught up. Bad planning. Okay. Oh, here you go. So this one is in the ad section of the magazine.
Yeah, I wanna know an ad. Yes.
Cameras. So no money in advance. You get a free trial to try this marvelous camera. Okay. So they give you a little bit of a description.
Yeah,
of
read
what
the headline of the
So
ad.
no money in advance. This marvelous camera on free trial takes and makes finished pictures instantly. You press the button, drop card in developer, and in 1 minute, take out a perfect finished postcard. Gives you the dimensions, and it says camera itself is about 4.5 by 5 by 7 inches. Loads in daylight, 16 to 50 postcards at a time. The big selling point is there's no film, no plates, no darkroom.
How much is it?
I'll tell you here in a second. Hold on, before I get to the cost of it, it goes, we trust you. It says, no difference who you are, where you live, or what's your age. We'll send you the complete thing, absolute on approval. Give you 30 days to test it out, no cost. Just test out
30
this
day
camera.
free trial.
Yeah.
That's online everywhere. Hey,
Yeah.
test this out for 7 days or
Yes.
30-day free trial. If you don't like it, money back guarantee.
Exactly.
Got
And it says, if elegant pictures, it takes so quickly, so easy, with no trouble until our special price of only $5 is
What?
paid. It says easy payments, and you don't need references. Can you imagine needing a reference
for
to buy?
$5. Yeah.
It says no red tape of any kind. Monthly payments are so small, you'll not even
What
notice.
is it, like a quarter a month?
And this is
What?
hilarious too. No experience needed. But what's crazy is like with a lot of these ads where there's so much in here that's like it's free. Just try it out, and all you have to do is mail them a stamp to cover the cost.
Yeah, that's crazy. Can we go to a different like topic or like a different ad?
Can I give you one more for tech?
Yeah, sure. If you have one in mind.
We have our big bargain telescope. it's a this thing. It's
Yeah,
telescope
I
that's 3
understand.
feet long for only 99 cents.
What? They got it at the dollar store?
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts on just what I shared with technology?
No, I mean, I think the thing that sticks out to me is like one message. There's still that same type of messaging that we use, like in nature, but then the price point are just insane. But I mean, that's great. That's a given. That is 19.15.
Yeah. On price point, do you want to take a guess at how much a subscription to this magazine costs monthly?
A nickel.
It's actually $1.50, but
$1.50.
yeah.
How is a magazine $1.50 and the camera $5?
Hey man, I didn't make
Maybe
the,
magazines were valued at more in
Yeah.
that time frame. Okay. Cool.
To give an idea of what the whole magazine like really includes though is like At the beginning, we do have a couple of different pages for ads. Most of the ads are in the back, but
Yeah,
the
but
big bulk of this magazine, I mean, it's a lot thicker than
Yeah.
the magazines you see today, but a lot of it is like stories, whether they're real news stories or like just made up silly stories about like animals and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting. One thing that I thought was crazy coincidence is one of the main like articles within this magazine
Yes.
is about the creation of Universal in California.
What do you mean?
So like March 15th of 1915, the title of the article is "A City Built for Motion Pictures." So this guy, here it is, Carl Laemmle, he's the creator of Universal City. So he started to create like everything that is essentially like Hollywood. They started to create all of the big like movie sets where they had like, it was amazing to them that you could have like no 2 days the same, and where they were like creating a real life movie
like a set. Yeah. Okay.
I won't harp on it long, but they had, what is it? They had all different types of animals like gazelles, antelopes, moose, bears, just on site at all times because they were ready to have them in movies as actors.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some back in the day commercials.
Yeah, I just
mean,
thought it was
movies,
interesting. It's like we're doing so much more video production, and there
Yeah.
just happened to be an article about, hey, Universal, like the first one that they had was there. Okay, you brought up cigarettes. I actually did mark that one.
Yeah. I want to learn more about like what type of ads are in there.
Okay. With this one, I thought it was interesting for the cigarettes, and then I'm going to move to some of the more business related
Yeah, go to
ones.
the business. Like you can skip the cigarettes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't like the educated taste?
No. I don't care for cigarettes.
Okay. One of the ones that we had talked about that was super interesting. Okay. So it's in the adagrams where it costs 6 cents a word.
6 cents a word to put the ad in this magazine. Okay, that's interesting to know.
Or you can do a special combination where you can pay 10 cents a word and have it in both this magazine and the Wide World magazine.
Okay.
So it's like a bundle deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one reads, I made $50,000 in 5 years with a small mail order business. Begin with $5. I'll teach you how to do the work. Write for particulars, and then it has the address that you write into.
That's
okay.
like that's the end of the ad.
That's the ad.
Read it one more time, please.
I made $50,000 in 5 years with a small mail order business. Began with $5. I will tell you how to do the work. Write for more. Okay, what are you thinking before I start word vomiting my thoughts?
So you give me $5 and you'll teach me how to make 50,000 over the last 5 years, is what this guy's claiming. The first thing that comes to my mind are things that I've talked about in the past, even on this volume, is like, hey, pay me like $1,500 to buy this online course, and I'll tell you how to make, $10K a month in the next 90 days.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the same exact thing.
Right.
But only the fact that I got to mail you this money, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get anything from you.
Okay, there's a couple more that are like that. Let me see.
That's bananas.
Yeah.
You're telling me people have been scamming people for years?
I mean, how do you know it was a scam?
I don't know.
Oh, here's one.
I don't
Okay,
know.
so
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little different, but this ad, it's not in the 6 cents a word section. It's more for like a professional business rather than like a person writing in. But this ad is literally just a box that says, if you have rheumatism, write your name and address here, mail it in, and they'll explain below.
What does that even mean?
I marked it because it's apparently some condition, but I marked it because it reminded me of whenever you see an ad on your computer, on your phone, and it's like, wait, I'm dyslexic, or I have a dog, and it says opt in, and they'll email you for more information, or like they don't give you all the information up front, but they caught your attention, and it's like, but wait, well, what about it? What are you gonna give me if I do that?
And this does like highlight, like for the listeners, like it does highlight the word rheumatism, like in bold, so like it does stand out in the magazine.
Yeah.
What is this one?
So this one, build up your body. Okay. So it's a man like this, and a man just like standing there like this.
Okay.
And so it's build up your body, give energy, force, and power to your blood and nerves. Magnetic shields fill the body with magnetic force. So it's like a
It's
thing
like
you
a
wrap
shape
around.
up.
Yes, it actually kind of is. And overall, it says it's going to give you better life, energy into your blood and nerves, and restore the loss of vitality to nerve centers.
Wow.
Get a free book. But I'm glad you pointed it
It's
out.
not the same as like all these other, like not all, but like this is interesting because like 109 years ago, they're still like to this day, like people are still selling the same type of stuff.
Get this one. This one is a full page one, and it says, "We invite every thin man and woman." This is an invitation for people who are way too thin to start taking this product called like Sargol that helps you gain weight.
Okay.
Like, I'm going to make the assumption here that like famine and like people weren't as well nourished as they are today.
Yeah.
Because now you see like weight loss stuff. And
Yeah.
yes, there are plenty
so
of,
it's the opposite.
yeah, but there's plenty of things in here that are shape shifting kind of things.
Yeah,
make
but
you
I mean,
look
I've
better,
seen
but-
videos of people like from the 70s and 80s. Like most people were thin.
Yeah. This one was talking about women who never appeared stylish in anything because they wore because of how thin they were, or men who were underweight or lacking of the energy they needed to have a pleasurable life. Like, we can help you. If you want to be beautiful and you want to have a better, well-rounded figure, take this random drug. Take this new thing.
It's like the V1, like version 1 of Viagra. What?
The selling point here was that it helps with the digestion of your food, and it
Okay.
really starts to like help you, I guess, absorb things more. But again, it's things that we see in everyday life today
Yeah.
of like weight loss, beauty.
Yeah, what is this?
Oh, this is great. So this is the ideal gift for anyone because it is a set of silverware.
Silverware for how much?
Regular list price is $10, but you can get this set for just 98 cents.
Wow.
For 4 weeks, we'll prepay all charges, and it contains 28 beautiful pieces of silverware.
And what is it worth now? Like $3,000?
Who knows? But then again, here you go. Reduce your flesh. Here's a weight loss one. Reduce your
Right, reduce your flesh. I like some of the terms that they're using. Reduce your flesh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, let me give you a couple more business ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This one is, again, it's not a 6 cents per word one like anyone can write into. This one's more of a business that's bought ad space is what it appears. So the headline is "Draw Your Way to Bigger Profits." So to become an expert commercial letter artist and designer, so you create cards basically. You can have tremendous growth in advertising, make steady demand for graduates at a good pay. You can start learning while you're earning. You know how they have those things you can make money while you're going to school, pay me back later kind of thing? I mean, they're advertising this. And this guy says, with my personal guidance, it'll advance you rapidly. Lessons simple and fascinating. Send today and get free information.
Opt in and learn more.
Yeah, another guy says, this is an ad that says, stop forgetting. Good memory is an absolute necessity to success. For memory, memory is power. This is forget proof. Let me help you concentrate. Read my book to remember things better. I mean, it's the same things that we see like in everyday life now. Let's see. We have Agent's Road to Wealth.
Okay, what is that? Yeah.
Something new, it says. And it says in huge letters like make big money. Exciting business for agents. If you sell Ambrew, a concentrated beer made of barley, malt, and hops, you just add water. Get this. So they're telling people, sell my shit, right? But this thing is beer in basically a pill capsule or something that fits in your pocket, and then you drop the beer into water and it makes beer. And it's saying it's made in a few minutes at home. It tells you some details about how it's so great, can be sold anywhere. But this ad is to get salespeople.
It's like Kinderlight. I put Kinderlight in my water bottle, but it's beer.
Yeah.
Wait, this guy's a genius.
Yeah. Well,
Where is there a beer pill nowadays? Like it's beer.
Yeah.
This will fly off the shelves. Give it to me.
Okay.
I'll sell it.
You said this is a great idea. There are multiple ads in the 6 cents a word one where people are writing in ideas wanted. It says write a list of inventions wanted, and manufacturers might be able to make it real. There's another one that says Inventions wanted. We'll give you cash or royalty if we move forward with it.
But how do they even know, like back in the day, like if you give them your idea, like they just won't take it? Like how are they going to know that you told them your idea?
Yeah. Well,
Like IP, like how do you like cover IP back in the day?
right? I mean, another one was songs and poems wanted. We want songwriters. We want composed songs. We want authors, short stories. Send us your stuff and we'll make it big if it works.
And we'll keep all the money.
Yeah.
If it works.
Yeah.
Because we won't mention your name.
Exactly. Here's a funny one. This is in the 6 Sense of Words one, the adagrams, under the postcard section.
Okay.
Real photos of pretty girls. That's all it says. If you just send a letter to this address, we'll send you back a list of samples for 10 cents of real pictures of pretty girls.
Okay. Is there like a big brand that you recognize in this magazine by chance or no? Like was there like a brand like, oh, like, hey, this is a brand that's promoting their product or something? Like did you see anything like that?
The biggest one that I saw was going to be like, actually on the back, Columbia Records and like the Chicago for a different typewriter where they even offer like a 10-day free trial. Those are the two that like stood out to me the most. I couldn't place if they're still like around today, but they seem to have like the most like professional looking ads.
Yeah. This is pre-TV, right? Like 1915 does not have TV, correct?
Right.
Am I right to say that or no?
I think so. Let's see.
Like, would you
TV invention?
Like, what is it called? Adagram?
Yeah, the TV was invented
What is this
in
called?
This is called adagrams in this, but the
Adagrams.
magazine is Strand magazine.
Did Instagram get this from adagrams?
Oh.
No, I'm being like for real.
I don't know.
Like, is that where like I wonder where that comes from?
Maybe.
I mean, maybe there's completely no correlation to the two, but this is cool though. Like, you know what I'm taking away from like what you're sharing is like in terms of like the hooks and the messaging from even 1915 is really no different than what it is that we do. Like marketing, like sure, like it's evolved like over the last century.
But like they're still talking about how to be more attractive. I mean, there's a lot in here. There's a lot about travel. Like, I mean, the one I'm looking at now is a 12-day all-expense northern cruise for $60 and up.
For 12 days.
It's travel, it's beauty.
Yeah.
And
but like the image is like a sketch though, right? Like of the
image
cruise,
is a
like
sketch.
like it's not even a real photo. It's like a sketch, like you know.
And what's interesting is like at the bottom of every single one of these pages where there's ads, like even here's another one for a cruise ship.
That's an actual picture or no?
No, I mean, it looks like a drawing.
Yeah.
At the bottom it says, kindly mention this magazine when writing to advertisers. Let us know you had the coupon. Let us know where you got it. I mean, it's a lot of the same.
Like, how do they get in contact with them? Like on that, like, is there a phone number? Like, how
you have to mail it to the address.
Mail it.
You literally like will cut out one of these ads, and some of them give you like very specific instructions. But it says like, you cut it. For some of the ones that have like, it's a free. All you have to do is pay for like the postage. So you clip the magazine ad, write your name and contact information, or write them a letter of what you're requesting, because there's some things in here where it's like, if you want a free sample, let us know what style of coffee bean you want and how much you want for a free sample, and then you put the postage note in there so that they can ship it back to you for free.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know even when I was a little kid, like being overseas in Japan, like we would order from JCPenney, like the JCPenney like
the
Christmas catalog. That we would order like months in advance, and it would take months for us to get it. I can't imagine how long it took these people to get their product, like 6 months, like 12 months or something. Like it's got to be something insane. What is your takeaway on this? Like, what are your thoughts when you're seeing all of this stuff? Just to kind of wrap things up here.
Yeah, I mean, so I sat down on the floor today and I went through like every single page.
What stood out to you? Like what marketing or messaging from this magazine from 1915, July of 1915, stood out to you?
I think it was a lot of, you need this. This will make you better. Even with the cigarettes, it was like educated people smoke this cigarette.
Oh, is that what they said?
Yeah, for educated taste.
Oh.
If you want to I mean, with the weight.
So it's selling a lifestyle.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's
It's like
good.
selling I like a certain like Jordans or
Yeah,
like,
because
okay.
even when they were talking about like the weight gain stuff, they were like, well, if you're not fitting into your clothes like you should, don't you want to be beautiful? Or I mean, there was a lot of little things in here that like were lifestyle choices, and so I think that's still around today too. Of like you want to be the best person you can be, right? And that's like the emotion that they're getting at, and that's still stuck, even though it's not a video of a content creator. It's not a long written article about the topic, but like the words that they were using and just even the shortest of ads was very just like, you need this, it'll make you a better person. And if you don't have it, you're like seriously missing out. Like it's the same marketing tactics.
Yeah, so this is like direct to consumer like marketing, like
Yeah.
in a magazine.
And it's, I mean, obviously not targeted, but it still hit a lot of different angles.
Yeah.
So
This is interesting for me to see. Like I remember growing up as a kid, like I'd see articles like or ads on newspapers. Like I remember like I would go through the newspaper and look at different things, like in the 80s and early 90s, and I did cut things out.
yeah,
And
I always
remember
felt
doing that.
I felt bad like
Yeah.
cutting them out because I'm like, well, what's on the back page? What if I want to come back to the? I'm never going back to the article.
Yeah.
Just clip it.
Yeah, it's cool, but it is, for me, like, it's just the whole like what sticks out to me is like, give me $5 and I'll teach you how to make 50,000 for over the next 5 years. Like I just see a lot of that ad, like on social media. So it's pretty cool to see that stuff like this has been going on for over a century.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely the most direct one that talks about like, if you give me this, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the adagrams part, you just send your ideas, follow the dollars. You can make $5 to $100 per week. The money's yours.
Yeah.
Like there's just a lot of that. So
That's cool. Well, interesting. I appreciate you sharing all of this today.
Thanks for letting
That's
me
cool.
kind of geek out about an old magazine.
Yeah.
It was cool to see.
For sure.
What's
our next decade?
That's a good question. I mean, I did snag 2 other, like, I think they're actually Life magazines, like, from the antique shop. I don't remember what actual years they're from, and I'll see what happens, how we want to approach the next one.
Yeah, I think what would be cool is one, have somebody like from the 80s and 90s. And because like I can relate to that even more, like this just seems it's cool to know, but like it's so way back. I think it's hard for people to sometimes maybe like correlate it, because like if it has like TV stuff or like radio or something, I think people can connect a little bit more on this stuff too. So
I think I want to do like a dissect on like a specific brand too, and like how their marketing has evolved over the decades.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see. To all those Valiantpreneurs who are listening today, let us know what you liked. Let us know what you want to hear more of. And if there's a particular decade or a brand that you're interested in us exploring, let us know at hello@valiantdigital.com.
Until next Valiant Volumes.
Peace.